You know what? It's going to be hot in here. The Black Pearl is producing prodigious amounts of heat. And because the dogs are being very boisterous this evening, I had to close the door. Oh, boy.
You're listening to Late Night Radio on the SHR Media Network. Caution, there will be mature themes explored and potentially adult language used. If conservatarian words, phrases, certain concepts, or rhetoric offends you, tune out now.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-taught lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same. And if you and I don't do this, then you and I may well spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it once was like in America when men were free.
Wait a minute. August 20th, the year of our Lord 2026. Go.
I'm pushing them back from the saloon to the airwaves. I'm spitting it raw. Constitution's my compass, liberty's law. Big guns creeping, shadows on the land. Feds with the schemes trying to bind up my hands. But I'm the Sherpa, guiding through the storm. Red, white, and blue, yeah, freedom's reborn. They spin their tails, but I see through the haze. Media maggots, lost in the maze. I'm calling it out, no fear in my soul. This patriot's fire ain't losing control. Conservative Sherpa leading the fight. Torch in the dark, burning bright in the night. Stand for the truth, won't bow to the game. Sherpas, come and remember my name. Sherpas rising. Freedom's calling. Let this judge is twisted, trying to steal our rights, but I'm locked and loaded, got them in my sights. From J6 to the border, they're selling us out. I'm screaming from the mountain, hear my rainbow shout. They mock the flag, but I'm holding it high. Stars and stripes forever under God's open sky. No globalist chains gonna cage this land. I'm the Sherpa with the truth in my hand. They push their agenda, but I'm breaking the mold. Their promises empty, their hearts ice cold. Chicago's bleeding, borders torn apart. I'm fighting for the people with the warrior's heart. Conservative Sherpa leading the fight. Torch in the dark, burning bright in the night. Stand for the truth, won't bow to the game. Sherpas, come and remember my name. Sherpas rising. I've walked the line, 41 years, badge on the grind, now I'm on the air. My voice like a blade, cutting through the lies that the traitors made. Hurricanes rage, but we're standing tall. Sheriffs of the Constitution answering the call. From the saloon to the heart of the fray, we're taking back America, no more delay. Conservative Sherpa leading the fight. Torch in the dark, burning bright in the night. Stand for the truth, won't bow to the game. Sherpas, come and remember my name. Sherpas the static, hear my voice resound. Conservative Sherpa, freedom's battleground. Berserk, Bobcat, rules will never kneel. For God and country, this fight is real.
The Sherpa is rising, kids. I went all over the internet today, and I tried to make some inroads on the internet, and I made an amazing discovery that I'm going to show to you just a little bit later. Before we get going, I have a story of an amazing American that I will be reading to you in just a moment or two. Before we do that, I want to go back and remind everybody of this. If you know a veteran and you think they could use some assistance, you might want to take me, I don't know, maybe a screenshot of this or jot down the number. Because we had a celebrity and I was excoriated for this. Oh, boo-hoo, the celebrity committed seppuku. I have to be honest, I couldn't care less. What's important are our veterans. 14 to 17 of them take their lives every day. Write this number down. Maybe make a reference. Maybe help somebody. That's first off the bat. The second one is tonight it's going to be, this is way too many conservatives. This is way too many Republicans. I want to get out to vote, but I don't know. I had to wash the dog, or my parakeet farted, or I had to clean my fish tank, or I had to order new checks. Yeah, that's how old I am. That's the story of tonight. Also, note for next week, I'm going to be having Dr. Carla Dean Graves on. That's next. She was going to be on tonight, and then she had to clear her schedule, just like I occasionally clear the baffles. And so she's going to be on next Thursday night. This will be a great interview. She has a great deal to do with COVID, knows everyone. Everyone knows her in the big name categories. So she'll be speaking about how we were taken during 2020 and 2021 during the time of Wuhan 19. And she's also going to be speaking about election integrity. So, important note, I would highly recommend, I already know what my show is going to be Tuesday night. I should have uploaded the graphic for that, but failure, I didn't. Fear not, kids. We will get into the carousel of amusing GURP. I swear it. But I wanted to tell you first about, and maybe somebody in chat, somebody in the comments can tell me, have you seen this before as well? Okay, let me put this up. And okay, I'll do the story a little bit later on in, 15, 20 minutes, something like that. So I saw this on Fox, and I'll be talking about the story of the white fat chick who decided that she's going to become a muzzy and convert to Islam. And she got arrested for plotting to bomb the New York State Capitol because it's like hashtag, if not her, then who? And so I saw this on Fox, and NDNY, I will poison these infidels. Now, customarily, what I've done in the past with Google, and depending upon my mood, sometimes I'll use that as a search engine. Oh, BZ, why don't you use chat? Maybe I will, maybe I won't. A lot of people are saying these days, well, chat lies. Chat lies. Chat GPT AI lies. Really? Well, let me show you, and let me remind you. See, I wanted to take that sentence, I will poison these infidels, NDNY. I'm not exactly sure what NDNY meant, but I know what that phrase means. I know what that sentence means. So I typed that into Google, and this is what I got from Google. Now, where are you going to find things anymore when you encounter a search engine that refuses to do a search? Now, my question to you is, well, did I go to Google or did I somehow mistakenly go to AI? Well, if you look at this, I wasn't, you can see the little underlining right there is in all, and it's not over in AI mode. So Google is now telling you to your face, there are certain things that I will no longer tell you. And for the people that are in vertical format on YouTube, and by the way, we have 1,880 plus subscribers on YouTube. We will soon, in the not too terribly distant future, my guess is we're going to have about 2,000 subscribers in, I don't know, maybe by next week. That would be so cool. But the AI overview says, well, I cannot fulfill this request. I am programmed to be a helpful and harmless AI assistant. Although I did not ask it on AI, you can see above AI mode. I didn't highlight that. I cannot assist with, generate, or facilitate content related to violence, poisoning, or harming others. Now, trust me when I tell you, this is intentional. This is the byproduct of attempting to remove all aspects of history that leftists don't approve. Who programs AI? Leftists. Who consumes all your books through Amazon for AI, including extremely rare books, which they rip apart, throw the covers away, feed to Google, and then get rid of the books? Rare books, first editions, Ray Bradbury, Fahrenheit 451, to the point where your future is going to be relegated to, unless you have a physical hard copy of something in your personal library or someone else, one day you're going to go for a search, and it won't be just Google. It'll be most every other search engine, because they're so correlated and dovetailed with AI. You're going to see this page does not exist, or you're going to see we're not going to fulfill that request. Just like already August the 20th, 2026, Google already said, your request can go to hell. That's not just coming, that's here. How do you like your brave new world, kids? And so tonight, how do you stop this brave new world? Well, you have to get out to vote. And sadly, like this guy, way too many conservatives, they're comfy. It's raining, it's snowing, the old man is snoring. And you need to get out to vote. Because who does vote? Well, weirdly enough, lots of people vote. Here's who. And I will continue to remind you of this. 40% of Americans vote in local elections and primaries. It's 10%. Guess what? 95% of Muslims vote. In New York, 98% of Muslims voted for Mamdani. That's how they get him. Now, whether or not they love him is a point to be made later on in the show. But that's why Muslims and DSA communists, they're not socialists, are being elected all over the country. That's the point of the show tonight. And would you expect that I have lots of information to back this up? Why, yes. Why, yes, I would. I would have a lot. And again, before we get into the carousel of amusing group, I saw this in, where was this? I think it was Facebook. And occasionally you come across people in social media where, and I don't do it not as much as I did in the past, and I should do this more, because people, it's just, if everything is just negative, it's a buzzkill. It's a buzzkill for a show. I get it. That's why I try to occasionally keep things stupid or funny or whatnot. I've got a really strange story about pontoons coming up, but just hold your socks on. We won't be boating just yet. So I found a story about a man like this who recently passed away. This man is John E. Vitalik. He was born in 1948, and he passed away this year. And I was curious, well, why, for example, are you making mention of this guy? Let me read you his story. His story is, I'd say, fairly amazing. Now, maybe you know someone similar to this, but this, just roll with me, if you will, on this guy. First, I want to go back to a story in 1976. Wow, that dates. Why are we going back that far? This is from the New York Times, September 29th, 1976. And the headline says, ex-Green Beret trapped in a car survives by ingenuity for 2 weeks. If that doesn't stagger your brainulus right there, I don't know what will. So Trout Lake, Washington, September 28th, a 27-year-old former Green Beret from Whitehall, Michigan, survived on his wits for 2 weeks in the forest near here, where he chipped away at a log that entrapped him in his overturned car. The ingenuity this guy displayed in keeping himself alive was phenomenal, said Elaine Webb, a deputy in the Skamania County Sheriff's Office. John Vitalik was described by his doctor as generally in remarkable condition for a man who's gone through what he has. During the night of September 11th, a station wagon driven by Mr. Vitalik, who was on a weekend outing, went over a 150-foot embankment from a logging road 20 miles north of this community in Washington. The car came to a halt upside down next to a small creek. Mr. Vitalik's left foot was pinned to the dashboard by a 6-inch log that had rammed through the windshield. So William Moran, a United States Forest Service employee in the Mount Adams Ranger Station, who talked to Mr. Vitalik when he was brought to the station by a logger, said that Mr. Vitalik sharpened a lug wrench with a rock and chipped away at the log to free himself. Then he crawled up the 150-foot embankment to the road where he was found by the logger yesterday back in 1976. Mr. Moran said that Mr. Vitalik obtained drinking water by tying a string to his T-shirt and throwing it into the nearby creek. He sucked water from the fabric. Mr. Vitalik told hospital attendants that his only food was some huckleberries on bushes that he could reach from the car and a piece of cheese from a packaged snack in the car. Field mice had found the snack and, in striving to get at the crackers, dragged it to within Mr. Vitalik's reach, he said. The mice devoured the crackers, Mr. Vitalik said at the hospital. So Mr. Moran said that while Mr. Vitalik was trapped, he shouted and tried to signal with a mirror to passing log trucks on the road 150 feet away. But the underbrush was so thick that nobody saw him or his car. So he was taken to Emmanuel Hospital in Portland, Oregon, where his condition was listed as good. Dr. Robert Berselli said his patient's only major problem was the log's pressure on his foot, which may have damaged it enough to require amputation. Test results are pending, the doctor said. Mr. Vitalik, who'd been a medic with the Green Berets, was staying in a Portland suburb while he received training as a kidney dialysis machine technician. He told officials he had intended to climb Mount Rainier on this outing, but he changed his mind and decided to visit mountains in the Gifford-Pinchot National Forest. When he failed to return to his training session, sheriff's deputies and company officials searched unsuccessfully for him. They gave up the search after a week. His injuries ultimately resulted in the loss of his left leg. It's like, where do you find people like this? I don't know. Maybe you know some. It ain't me. He later became an endurance athlete and, using a prosthetic leg, completed Oh my God. The 1997 Antarctica Marathon. I know I have a great idea. I could run a marathon in spring or fall where it's easy. Oh no, he decides he's going to run a marathon in Antarctica. So he was born August 4th, 1948 in Detroit, Michigan, grew up in Whitehall, Michigan, and died May 13th, just a few months ago, 2026 at age 77. At the time of his death, he had lived in Rochester, New York for about 25 years with his wife, Mary. Where do you find people like this? I don't know. Maybe this is even you. Maybe you're lucky to know somebody like this. Like Mr. Vitalik. We had a guy that worked for the sheriff's department. And when I was in homicide, he was a doctor who would perform autopsies. I can't think of his name right now. I was in homicide in 96, 95, 96, 97, blah, blah. And I called this guy the underachiever. And maybe you know people like, like this guy, who's clearly an underachiever. And so we did not have a medical examiner format in the sheriff's department where I worked. We had a coroner format. In other words, the coroners went out on the scenes. The medical examiners themselves did not go on the scenes, except for this guy who performed autopsies for the coroner. And he knew I worked homicide. And he was a reserve deputy sheriff. And he would willingly go out to some of my homicides because he thought it was fun and he learned stuff. Oh, but he he didn't do just autopsies. Of course, he was a doctor. And then he was a reserve deputy sheriff. And he was also an attorney. So I told this guy, dude, you are like the quintessential underachiever. You're just such an abject underachiever. And you know what? I bet you know people just like that. Let's go here now and let's play this song that I've been waiting all these years. You're not going to believe the carousel of amusing GURP, because the first one that I have to show you talks about a story that we will address later on in the show, but it's, I don't know how I'm going to make this to you, how I'm going to make this bigger. Okay, so this is a story from Town Hall. I think it's from Brad Slager, because he writes for Town Hall. You ought to read Brad Slager's stuff. And I saw this, and the caption on this, and the story is like, I couldn't care less. New Black Panther Party chairwoman, Crystal Muhammad. Black power. It's about goddamn time. Our power to the people. That's the first step. Now we need for Carmelo Anthony to be released. Okay, now you know the backstory. Let me see if I can put this up here.
The new Black Panther Party. And we're going to get their view on today's recusal of the judge.
Okay, so what's being said actually is immaterial.
All power to the people. That's the first step.
Am I the only one that is marveling at the ridiculous pontoons on this chick? She should be like Pontoon Bertha. I saw this and I thought, okay, this is just call me wacky. I don't know. Maybe you didn't see it. Maybe I should have clipped it, put it into a graphic so I could present it. I have to say, I have not seen pontoons this big since I was on Lake Mead, probably 30 years ago. Here's another part of the carousel of amusing GURP. Now, this is worth listening to. It's a visual too, but listen. Oh, wait. Put it back on the stage. Now.
That is if you can provide yourself with food, and again, they're ice fishing because everything is frozen, and you're looking for fat in the beaver.
Yeah,
the beaver is the beaver is the most sought after.
It is.
Ryan, do you think you could eat?
Okay, look, I never said this was a mature show.
Eat beaver. It's fat.
And I never said I was going to be serious every hour, every second of this show.
And then it's meat.
It made them all sick, though. They all got sick after it.
Well, you can't eat diseased animals.
Oh, God.
What about a moose?
Yeah, I don't know anything about this show.
Okay.
They didn't bring it up.
Funny.
Okay.
You are a really funny gal.
All right. Enough of that. Moving on. BZ, move on. Yes, okay. I'm moving on right now. The story for tonight, and maybe I do, in fact, have some happy stories for tonight. And maybe that requires some happy music, which is here. So it's true.
It's time for happy stories and good times.
This is a happy story. I've only got a few, just a handful, maybe 4 or 5. And this is from Wall Street Apes. More than 100,000 illegals have been mailed huge fines by the Trump administration for being in America illegally. A Michigan immigrant recently opened his mailbox and learned the federal government was fining him $579,838. He's one of a few of 100,000 people who've gotten one of these and new fines under the Trump administration. The goal, of issuing these fines is to encourage self-deportation or face financial ruin.
A Michigan immigrant recently opened his mailbox and learned the federal government was fining him $579,838.
Yay.
He's one of more than 100,000 people who's gotten one of these new fines under the Trump administration. The civil penalties are being issued against people who have deportation orders but remained in the United States. They've been legal since 1996, but they were rarely used until President Donald Trump took office again. Under the law, the federal government can charge someone $998 for every day they stayed in the country after an immigration judge ordered them removed.
So as far as I'm concerned, folks, that is a happy story. And with that, roughly a half hour has passed. Thanks to everyone who is watching tonight live. Thanks to the people that are in the chat room. Thanks to the people that are watching later on in podcast. I greatly appreciate your help and support. And we're going to take a break, and we shall return with more buttery, bulbous political goodness.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
In a world where leftists are running out of metal for the safety pins of their soothing red diapers, one man stands alone, attempting to fundamentally change America, one leftist diaper at a time. BZ, your conservative Sherpa, is guiding you through the maelstrom of Democrat leftists and globalist lies, chaos, deceit, and betrayal. Listen to BZ Saloon on select and exclusive Tuesday and Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Central, and 11 p.m. Eastern on the SHR Media YouTube channel, Twitch, KLRN, Rumble, and X at BZ Saloon. It's one great late-night conservatarian talk radio show. Be there. Aloha.
Hello, friends. You have a moment so that we may discuss our Lord and Savior Minarchy? No, seriously, I'm just kidding. Hi, my name is Rick Robinson. I am the general manager of KLRNradio.com. We are probably the largest independent podcast network that you've never heard of. We have a little bit of everything, and by that, what I mean to tell you is we have news, pop culture, special events, conspiratainment, true crime, mental health shows, drama productions, and pretty much everything in between. So if you're looking for a new podcast home to grab a little bit of everything that you love all in one place, come check us out. You can find us on X under @KLRNradio. You can find us on our Rumble and our YouTube channels under the same names. You can also find us at KLRNradio.com and pretty much every podcast catcher known to man. So again, feel free to come check us out anytime you like, at KLRN Radio.
It's Sean from the Edge of Liberty. Just like the Bidens, I too am moving. Only in my case, it's days and times. That's right. You can now find the Edge of Liberty Monday at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 Eastern, and Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on 11 Eastern on the SHR Media Network. Join me as we talk politics, news, alcohol, fun, not so much fun, clowns, small kittens, large kittens, dogs, amoebas, and anything else that just pops into my mind while I'm on the air. That is Monday and Wednesday, 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 on the East Coast, on YouTube, X, KLRN Radio, Facebook, Twitch, and anywhere else a good podcast is found. Please check out our website, shrmedia.com. I will see you live on the air.
Attention, all patriotic women of faith. Yep, I'm talking to you, sis. Are you looking for high quality, super soft apparel that reflects your love for country and your devotion to God? Look no further than Carry Girl Gear. Picture this. You rocking a tee so soft it's like being hugged by a cloud, all while showing off your love for God and country. Sounds dreamy, right? Well, welcome to reality, babes, because that's what we're all about here at Carry Girl Gear. We specialize in super soft tees, tanks, and more, designed specifically for the strong, patriotic woman who proudly wants to carry their message of faith and freedom. When you shop with us, you're not just getting a t-shirt. You're joining a community of like-minded women who are proud to wear their beliefs straight on their tees. So whether you're sipping sweet tea on the porch or leading the charge for faith and freedom, do it in a Carry Girl tee. Because life's too short for stiff, boring tees. CarryGirl.com, where faith and freedom meets fashion.
Independence. With that declaration, America was born. Inspired by a belief in the God-given rights of every human being, and in the good that comes from exercising these rights well. The founders of our great nation chose independence. As do we. Hillsdale College accepts no government funding because independence makes possible the good to which we aspire.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
It's the first half hour down. It is August the 20th, the year of our Lord 2026. Can you possibly feature, I query, that August is almost gone? Gone. Like the guy that goes to Pier 39 and sees all the shops and whatnot on the pier in San Francisco boarded up. Gone. Yeah, that's a video you got to watch. So thanks for coming back. I highly recommend that you visit our plush, sumptuous, palatial, and resplendent chat room. It's awaiting your incredibly glorious presence at the SHR Media YouTube channel. That's where you can jump into the chat room. A lot of good people there. Gratitude for everyone watching right now live. Gratitude for those watching later on in podcast. And one thing I should say, thanks to everybody who has been subscribing. Please subscribe to the channel. Earl just had a great show before myself, and he got a lot of subscribers. I hope that I can get some subscribers here too. If you will also give me a thumbs up, click on the bell, and that way you get notified of his show, my show, anybody else's show that happens to be on SHR. And be sure to follow and like the shows. Each subscription, I should note, as per normal, gets me either what have I classically said, a porcelain Dalmatian or more vodka. Actually, more vodka is preferred. Excuse me while I take a hit. That's some good Kettle One. Life is too short for cheap vodka. And remember, out of all of this, your mileage may vary. Remember, FDIC batteries not included, no leak to basement, patent pending, and I like long walks off a short pier. So welcome back to the show. We were talking initially, before I was so rudely interrupted by a series of promos, which I created and intentionally put at the bottom of the hour. So I guess I was rude in terms of interrupting myself. But the show tonight is about, hey, folks, conservatives, Why can't you be bothered to get out to vote? Aren't you seeing the consequences before your very naked eyes right now? The answer immediately should be yes. But the big question is it? I continue now. I started what I would consider to be, I started some happy stories. I'm not going to play the music all over again because you were probably here. Here's another happy story. And this gets filed into, I've been thinking about making a segment called this, just hashtag consequences. Because some states are like this, some states are not. A Georgia man is walking free after defending his family and property at 4 a.m. when 3 masked thugs rolled up to rob people in his front yard. Now, the suspects were 16-year-old Isaiah Reed, 15-year-old Jamie Hernandez, 16-year-old Brandon Gresham, all from Conyers, all masked, all armed. One teen opened first. The homeowner returned fire, dropping all 3. Would-be victims unharmed. Deputies recovered 2 guns at the scene, and Rockdale County Sheriff Eric Levitt called it a clear stand-your-ground case. No charges against the homeowner. Well, as you may or may not know, probably, or maybe not, I live in Idaho. Idaho is a castle doctrine state, and it is also a stand-your-ground state, which I consider of great import. Here's also what I would consider a happy story. Trump administration axes, kills, removes refundable tax credits for illegal migrants, saving taxpayers $3 billion with a B. So the Treasury Department and the IRS, by the way, that Scott Bessent, ever notice how he really does go out of his way to save money for the American taxpayer, to make sure that your hard-earned American taxpayer dollars are not pissed away? And so what he did is he tightened the requirements for the adoption, child American opportunity, and earned income tax credits so that here's a unique and novel viewpoint so that only U.S. citizens and U.S. nationals and qualified aliens can get them. What a unique and strange concept, looking out for actual Americans. Who would ever possibly do that? Here's another, I guess, happy story, but weird story. I saw this in social media, probably over on X, on Twitter, maybe in one of the chat rooms. Saloon, a leftist magazine, is bleeding all over this. AI's abortion misinformation problem. Reproductive rights advocates are pushing back as AI chatbots misdirect abortion seekers. I guess you have to be smarter than the internet itself. And see, the reason that they're all up in arms, they, leftists, Demorats, anarchists, people that hate children, are up in arms about this is because it's called an alternative. It's called an option. You don't have to always kill your kids. So to provide an option for people that brook no options whatsoever, do it my way, like Heil communism, they're pissed off about this. I guess you could call that a happy story. It's just an interesting story that I want to make sure that I bring to everybody here tonight. Also, now okay, you know what? We may as well go to this aspect right now, because most of these are going to be the pounding beat of news. And so here's a strange story. Oh, the music just cut off. Okay, great. Good editing, BZ. Thank you very much. Now, more ongoing proof, and I'm going to show you this story in a moment, that today's Europeans are idiots. Now, if you recall, maybe you do, maybe you don't, this became an issue in France when some of the French that came here for soccer discovered, So much of what you have here is air conditioned, and it must befoul the environment. We don't do that in France. We're much better than you. And so what they're saying is, okay, sure, we will die in droves to prove that we're not Americans. Great job, morons. Meanwhile, Islam rubs its hands together and ponders how they can possibly get more Europeans to kill themselves without muzzies ever lifting a finger. Then here's the story. European heat wave killed more people in one region than the height of Wuhan 19. And locals still don't want air conditioning. We don't want to be Americans. So in Wallonia, I don't know, maybe that's near Transylvania. Isn't that where Dr. Doom operates? By the way, in November, kids, if you're not aware, Doomsday coming from Marvel. Doomsday, Dr. Doom, one of my favorite Marvel villains, along with Galactus. Oh, and Annihilus. Annihilus was great fun. In Wallonia, in southern Belgium, 313 deaths were recorded in just one day, June 28th, compared to 245 daily deaths at the peak of Wuhan 19 in November 2020. And yet, the Europeans, especially those in France, are saying, oh, that's, it's way too American, and we can't have that. Okay, I guess you're going to have to collapse, do whatever it is that you need to do. While you're doing that, by the way, Islam and Muslims who love the heat, just ask them, look at where they live, look at where they're coming to, and then they go to Minnesota cold. That's just weird. Do you ever think that was weird? I thought that was weird. And then also, in terms of stand by for news, what do you think this portends? Let me throw this out in the chat room. What do you think this means? This is from ABC 7. FBI seizes devices from a spy fucker, Eric Swalwell, at SFO, that's the San Francisco airport for you ignorant leftists, and also raids his D.C. home in a probe tied to sexual assault claims. Well, if there are sexual assault claims, and by the way, they yanked all of Swalwell's electronic devices. They served a search warrant for his cell phone and other electronic devices while he was at SFO, and agents served a search warrant at his Washington home on Sunday. Now, let me throw this out you into the electric digital ozone, and you tell me what you think, because I suss that there might be more to this. Oh, it's just because of sexual relations with, I don't know, interns, whomever. And a statement that the other thing that's interesting, Swalwell, I find this difficult to believe, but apparently true at this point. He's denied the allegations. Dun, dun, dun. Wait a minute. If I had a producer, which I don't, then if I can find it, here we go. He's denied the allegations. And also, I find this difficult to believe, that he resigned from Congress in April. His colleagues wanted to have him expelled from the House, so he kind of self-expulsion, I guess. And let me ask you this. Remember Fang Fang. Remember her? She was a Chinese spy. And Eric Swalwell, being the spy fucker that he is, I wonder if a portion or an aspect of this investigation, this dual-ended electronic device search of his person at SFO, of his house in D.C., I wonder if that has anything to do with him proffering, I don't know, perhaps secrets or bed talk. while they were copulating wherever it was that they were copulating. It's, that's a brain worm and a visual that's almost too icky for you to think about. So it looks like we're going to have to move on. This is, the FBI can be like a stopped clock. Good one day, maybe it's accurate one day and maybe not so accurate the next. Luckily, this is an individual. Now, the FBI arrests a woman who was talking to the FBI, who was plotting an ISIS-inspired and linked attack on the state of New York State Capitol building. Now, she said later on, apparently her goal was to aim her ire at D.C., but that had more security, so apparently it was easier for her to go to the state of New York. So she plotted to bomb the New York State Capitol and kill state senators repeatedly, because there's video surveilling that building, buying materials for an explosive device before the FBI arrested her. Her name is Jessica Bowie, 35, a white chick of Albany, New York. She's charged with attempting to provide material support to ISIS. She pledged allegiance to ISIS, disguising a bomb in a DoorDash delivery bag, and wanted to carry out the attack when state senators were meeting. Now, I don't do DoorDash because all I needed was one appearance by DoorDash, and I sussed out and determined that I don't like old food that's been tossed around in a container that's cold as hell and late. Only morons go for DoorDash for that kind of crap and put up with it. This one, however, is going to be using the morons that love DoorDash as she places it on the step of fill in the blank. And she said also she was using the name of Nusai Basef on a social media platform and told another in Arabic, "Praise be to Allah for September 11th. And when I can migrate, I will poison these infidels." Hey, look, that's where this came from. I will poison these infidels. Then I asked Google, what's that a reference to? And Google said, go to hell. So now you get the linkulus and the linkage on that as well. Islam is nothing but a religion. No, it's a system of evil. Islam is a religion of peace, or I don't know, pieces and tolerance. Lots of pieces, lots of tolerance. And so let's hear in about 30 seconds how this happened, what went on. Go.
Thank you. Well, breaking moments ago, the FBI says it disrupted a potential ISIS-inspired terror plot in New York. The agency tells Fox they've arrested a 35-year-old Albany woman accused of plotting to bomb the state capitol and kill lawmakers. According to a criminal complaint, Jessica Bowie pledged allegiance.
Okay, stop just for a second. Doesn't this make you wonder, like it does me? Wait, if you're going to kill people, why are you going to kill Demorats and leftists and communists and socialists that all hang around the New York State Capitol? Shouldn't you be aiming your ire at, I don't know, a red state somewhere? BZ, are you trying to intimate that Muslims don't like leftists? That's a pretty heady saying, don't you think? But here's the deal that I should care to point out to people, which goes remarkably similar to, they're using you. They're using you. Demorats, socialists, commies. Demorats think that they're using Muslims to usher in socialism. A, it's not socialism, and B, the truth is that Muzzies are using Demorats to usher in Islam. And because you're an infidel, you'll be eliminated along with essentially everybody else. Here's Hassan Piker. Hey, he's not He's not a communist, is he? Wearing the Mao jacket? No, not. By the way, did you ever see Hassan Piker without his beard? This is so weird. This is what you see when Hassan Piker shaves his beard. You know, people send me weird stuff like this. You know, they don't send it to anybody else, just to me. And I have to make sure that I play this stuff on the show because this is real. I'm telling you, this is real. This is what happened right here, right now. And if you believe me, here's something else. Now, we saw that the FBI apparently did its job, which is cool. That's sort of kind of remarkable, but it's wonderful. Hey, anybody remember anything about Seth Rich? From any number of years ago. Seth Rich was working for Demorats. And on, let's see, way back on July 10th in 2016, that's the year I retired, he was found shot in the back due to what law enforcement in D.C. labeled a burglary. It's not a burglary, it's a robbery, you morons. And yet his wallet, phone, and watch were left on his person. Okay, this was all, if you remember, this is pretty much simultaneously as WikiLeaks, Julian Assange, started dropping a bunch of DNC emails that began to illustrate the inner workings of the Hillary Clinton campaign. And it's believed that Seth Richards forwarded emails from John Podesta, good friend and assistant of Hillary Clinton, to WikiLeaks. And so there's a guy named Ty Clevenger who caught the FBI lying and hiding documents in the Seth Rich case. And people were thinking, you know, if he in fact shuttled stuff over to WikiLeaks, it makes him kind of a pivotal key to the Russian collusion coup attempt of the first Trump administration, where I've said consistently since 2016, it's been a soft coup against a presidential candidate, a presidential nominee, a president-elect, a sitting president, and then an outright coup in Butler, Pennsylvania, with a bullet that barely missed President Trump and his death on live TV, which a lot of people would certainly applaud. And so the FBI, not necessarily wonderful people. Let's move on. Let's continue. Dang, I'm coming up to the top of the hour already. Now, remember Carmelo Anthony? Because I had hoped not to revisit this jackwipe ever again, and that his conviction would hang around for a while. And so they found more emails, new evidence coming out surrounding that case with Carmelo Anthony, including the text that prosecutors say they found on his phone that could be fair game if he gets a new trial. Well, he's pushing for a new trial. And said it was part of a pattern, and that's what cops look for, not just a singular incident which occurs in a vacuum. You look for trends and continuing trends. And when you begin to identify things, you're not going to convict or arrest off of just one thing. You're looking for a series of things in order to make your case. Not just one, but as many as you possibly can. And so it looked like they found a trend or a demonstration of kind of a pattern involving his obsession with knives and guns and desire to start fights. So here's just one thing. That's one of the things they found. When I stab somebody, I'm going to lick the blood off the blade. You know, because who wouldn't want to do that? Everybody?
Yeah, John, today we are hearing a lot of new evidence that was never made public during the trial, including details of what investigators found on Carmelo Anthony's phone and why it is that they believe he took a knife to this track meet last year in April. During opening statements, prosecutors revealed Anthony had a documented pattern of obsession with knives and guns. In one text message, Anthony allegedly fantasized about stabbing someone, writing, "When I stab somebody, I'm going to lick their blood off the blade." Prosecutors say they also have numerous examples of Anthony's desire to start fights and to be in fights, and they argue that's what he went to the track meet to do that day.
Okay, so if you find evidence of something like that, I guess the Anthony family is pushing through their mouthpiece for a new trial. Okay, that's cool. You know, you want a new trial, and a judge determines a new trial. Fabulous, straight ahead, and you know, go by the North Star. Do whatever you need to do. You either get shot down or you don't. But this new evidence, I don't know. Call me wacky. It looks like it doesn't really bode well for Anthony. And then occasionally you come across things, as I do, and this is the reason I bring them to you, where you look at something and you read something from somebody who, I call people like this Stegosaurus or Stegosaurs. Let me go back to the Jurassic area, or possibly before that, maybe even the Cenozoic, not sure. I call a person a stegosaur who, and a stegosaur it didn't have a brain. It had, I guess you could call it a brain in its head. And for its size, the brain was the size of a walnut. Okay. And plus, its brain was not sufficiently of enough horsepower to make its front legs work and its back legs. So basically, a Stegosaurus had a ganglion of nerves in its rear hips to make its rear hips walk. And with luck, they connected and they were able to walk like that. Here's a Stegosaur. Jimmy Jones, and I played it last Tuesday, had a little bit of umbrage and some things to say where people were saying that on the Abraham Lincoln, life is so terrible. And then he delineated all the things that he had to do. And Joey Jones, of course, is the guy that lost two legs to IEDs while he was serving 4 tours, I believe, in the sandbox. And this is from, let me see. Can I make this bigger? Let me see if I can make this bigger for you. That's about as big as I can get it. And you're not going to be able to read it. Now, I can see it on the screen here. If you're watching in vertical format, you're not going to be able to see it. But there are some words down at the very, 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 very bottom. Let me move my cursor over there. They're right here. And this is a person, Erica Vandermeer, mother of a USS Abraham Lincoln sailor. And she's complaining about what her young boy, I don't know, maybe could be a girl, who knows. And she says, and this is why this is a full-fledged stegosaur. The quote here is, they didn't sign up to be on a ship in the middle of an ocean. Her son or daughter, by the way, is on the USS Abraham Lincoln, which is on a ship in the middle of the ocean. Be right back.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Listen in to the Reaver of Common Sense, where we cut through the noise of news and politics with a show equipped for bombast. Tune in Mondays and Fridays at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, and 6 p.m. Pacific, featuring a refreshing dose of reality. Jersey Joe fearlessly tackles the tough topics with no nonsense. Just pure common sense. Visit shrmedia.com, where you can hear the Reaver of Common Sense in action. He may not always be polite. He may not always be refined. But one thing's for sure. He always tells it like it is.
Are you looking for a way to boldly express your faith and love for your country? Then check out Seven Armors, the premier apparel company for patriotic men of God, where faith meets freedom in style. Our t-shirts are more than just clothing, they're statements. Bold, stylish, and meaningful. From timeless messages to modern designs, we've got something for every patriotic man of God. Wear your beliefs proudly with 7 Armors gear. Don't miss the chance to wear your faith and freedom on your sleeve. Visit 7armors.com today and join the movement. That's the number 7armors.com. 7armors.com. Faithful, vigilant, steadfast, passion.
Freedom. One nation in all of human history was built on that bedrock. Ours. A republic of the people, by the people, and for the people. Self-government requires freedom, just as freedom requires an individual willingness to self-govern. Freedom has made America exceptional, but it can only last as long as you and I seek the good, as expressed by the laws of nature and nature's God. It can only last if you and I choose to act as people of character. Forging character has been the pursuit of Hillsdale College since 1844.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And here I am. I have returned just as promised. It is August the 20th, almost the end of August, the year of our Lord 2026. It is 9:02 p.m. Pacific. It is 11:02 p.m. Centrale. And it is midnight 02 on the eastern seaboard. Thank you. I say thank you and thank you for watching the show tonight. And I want to explain to you, if I can, if you will allow me, that if you subscribe to the show, and we're at 1,880 plus subscribers, we're not that far from 1,900, which will get us right over there to 2,000 subscribers. Each subscription, if you would kindly, pretty please, with sugar on top, maybe Splenda, if that's the only thing that you'll accept. Okay, that's fine. But each subscription will get me, as I am wont to say, an arboreal animal of my choice. Maybe a woodchuck, maybe a hyrax, uncertain. A porcelain Dalmatian, always wanted one. More cat food, even though my dogs, I have 4 of them. My dogs will eat cat food. What the hell? I want the timing chain, or I may be awarded the timing chain from a 1979 Peterbilt 359. I could get more blinker fluid, which I need to stock up for now because winter is coming. Winter is coming. And or more vodka. I need more vodka. So excuse me. I hope you have your own. I hope you have your own adult beverage during this show, because holy shit, do you ever need it? Here, let's wait. I bet your vodka container or mug doesn't have BZ on the bottom, like mine does. So the show tonight is about, why don't we vote? Why don't Republicans vote? Why don't conservatives vote? Why don't they consistently get out and vote? It said, well, they sometimes participate, Republicans, sometimes participate at lower rates. And okay, I get it. There's people are broken into age and education and income and geography and election type and whether people feel the election is consequential. I want to go to this. Let me see if I can find this right now. Here we go. Every vote is consequential. Every vote is important. Because if you remember, there were many elections in the past, local and in terms of the presidency, that were decided by a remarkably slim number of votes. And this article, like all the others in the videos that I play on the show tonight, will be in the Rumble side, rumble.com, the video Rumble side of BZ's Saloon, so that you can read this article later at your leisure. And basically what it says is, If you look at a lot of elections, what you'll find out that federal, state, local elections, people won by remarkably slim margins, and just a few votes can end up shaping policy. And that's why I went back and said and made a reference to this. Who came out to vote? Who elected Mamdani? Well, it wasn't Republicans, because apparently they didn't get out, or conservatives, they didn't get out in New York City of a significant number to make sure that this Takya-loving Muzzy Mamdani wasn't installed. And in the meantime, he's doing his very level best to ensure that New York City is detonated. Okay, maybe he's not using the det cord himself, but he's using others who will be doing exactly that. Your vote counts. It is the power of the vote. I don't know how I can make this any more clear to as many people as possible. I find it difficult to believe. Let's go to this. Already covered that and that. Let's go to this. This is another reason why you gotta get out and vote. The stuff that I will use as illustrations for the rest of the show tonight, for the rest of the 2 hours, will refer back to, if you screw up, if you don't get out to vote, then people like this are going to get out and vote for you. And then whatever this hellacious unit votes for will be what you're going to have to live with. Good luck with that. And in this one, here's a training video. This is election judge training for Carver County, Minnesota. This is from 2024, about 2 minutes. You want this?
Ask them for their name and address. Do not ask a voter to look at the roster themselves to locate their name. Do not ask them to see an identification card. However, if a voter presents identification, thank the voter and inform them that an identification card is not required if they are registered. This announcement is not only for the voter in front of you, but for other voters in line who should not feel required to produce an identification card.
So it's a point. It's an example. In other words, if you have Marvin the Mexican behind who doesn't speak English at all, but some just enough to get by, oh, gee whiz, I don't have to proffer an ID card. Maybe he or she knows it beforehand, maybe not. You don't vote, this is what you're going to get more of. And then also in California, Califailure, my mistake. I left Califailure I sold my house in 21. And then we sold the wife's house in 22. So I guess you would say that I didn't truly get into North Idaho until 2022, when we'd already sold both houses and purchased another one. So here's something weird. And people in Arcadia, you should feel so proud by voting a communist spy as mayor. Communist Demorat mayor. She quit after admitting she was a Comchink communist agent. Eileen Obese, how do you say that? Do you think I'm going to give something not a pejorative to China? Did I address that to somebody that wasn't a spy? No. I don't like the Chinese. I don't have to like the Chinese. They are our enemy. And yet, ... As I've said before many times, I don't go along with everything President Trump says. He wouldn't mind having 600,000 Chinese Comchink spies in the United States as students come into the United States so that you can insinuate yourselves into our industries even more. President Trump, excuse me. No, screw you. You're a moron. if you think you want more communist spies, because Eileen Wang, mayor of Arcadia, stepped down after striking a plea deal and admitting she acted as an illegal foreign agent for the Chinese government. Hello, the Comchinks, the communists, spreading Beijing's propaganda in the U.S. Under their direction. She told them what to do. And the 600,000 students, the Trump wants in the United States, they are all and will all be spies for communist China. She faces up to 10 years in federal prison. But, like the Chinese driver in Dianne Feinstein's office, who became not just her driver, but her confidant for over 15 years in Dai Fai's office, and was shipping information back to communist China. And here's a funny thing about the FBI. You probably don't recall this. Dianne Feinstein was given a courtesy heads up by the FBI in terms of, Dianne, we're going to do an investigation about the Chinese driver that you've probably given a shit ton, maybe not willingly, but I'm sure he went rummaging around your office and your papers and your briefcases, because I bet you probably gave all those things at one time, many times, to him to hold, working as a Chinese spy in your office. But the FBI said, hey, we're giving you a courtesy heads up. We're going to be investigating your Chinese driver because we think he's a spy. Hey, did the FBI do that for President Trump? Not yet President Trump. But did they give him a courtesy call and say, hey, we're going to be investigating amounts of what we think are Russian collusion, which didn't occur? No, they just went ahead and investigated. And then nothing happened because of that. But hey, the courtesy was missing. I can't imagine that it could be anything related to, I don't know, James Comey, Bob Mueller, Christopher Wray, political bias. No, that wouldn't be anything like that. Also, when you vote this crap in, this is what you get. You get consequences. If you don't get out to vote and you sit on your dead ass in a chair and the ballot box truly really isn't all that far away, maybe you're grasping for it. Maybe you're not. Maybe you don't even care. Maybe you're too lazy to get out. And then you get these results. Okay, so in Chicago, for example, 7 Save-A-Lot stores shut down across Chicago's end. And $13.5 million of your hard-earned taxpayer dollars were spent to keep those 7 stores open. Okay, so over about a day, and I'm going to show you the article here in a moment. So what occurred is there's a history, Mamdani, of this stuff not working, but everybody thinks or believes that they can do socialism and do communism better than the last guy. The last guy, he just didn't have the magic equation. He didn't have the golden fingertips that I do to make sure that this stuff truly works. Over about a decade, Sun Fresh Market in Kansas City got about $17 million and $29 million in total taxpayer investments and subsidies before it was shut down in 2025 because it wasn't working. Now, BZ, go to New York City. Muzzy Mamdani plans to open a network of 5 city-owned Muni grocery stores. He wants to give a 30% discount on staple food items like, I don't know, fresh produce and milk and meat compared to standard market prices. And what he's doing is he's undercutting all the private New York City markets and bodegas everywhere in that city. Because as you and I well truly know and recognize, because when criminals swarm markets, they always go for the fish and the produce and the vegetables and the milk because they're health zealots, right? So sure, Takia Mamdani has a great idea with a proven positive track record. And as communism clearly has worked so well, so will this again too. So they shut down. There were 7 stores that closed just recently, just late last month in Chicago. They closed their doors, leaving residents with, imagine that, one less grocery store in areas where their options are already limited. No thanks. I don't want to subscribe to your crap. So the closure came after 4 years of back and forth. And what that actually indicates is that, well, gee, that doesn't work. It doesn't work because that's government picking and choosing winners and losers. But wait, kids, there's more. Just today, I believe someone in New York City decided that, oh, you know what? We'll, in order to level the playing field, so to speak, we'll give more money to the stores that may be negatively impacted by our creating our own supermarkets. Okay, so wait. This is New York City taking your hard-earned American taxpayer dollars and ostensibly funding every market in New York City. That's what you voted for, isn't it? And still, he's picking winners and losers out of all of this. Because here's the other thing. When you have impacts like this, in this example, a bunch of immigrant-owned grocers have threatened to sue New York City over Mamdani's plan to open a bunch of government-owned supermarkets, and that may occur this week. Tomorrow's Friday. I'm not so sure about that. Immigrant-owned grocers to sue over Mamdani's New York City-owned supermarkets as soon as this week. Do you possibly conjure, kids, that this may have been the impetus for New York City deciding, oh, well, we'll throw some more some hard-earned American taxpayer dollars at these complaining, wise guy, ridiculous immigrant-owned owners who just need to, put up or shut up. Well, is this, I don't know, you tell me, is this a payoff? Because everything that Mamdani has done and everything that New York City has done got installed or pushed in there by votes. And if you stayed home, who got Mamdani in there? All the muzzies voted. All the Demorats socialists are voting. Any conservatives, any Republicans, you throw up your hands. Oh, I'm defeated already. Oh, boo-hoo, woe is me. Get your ass off the sofa and get out and vote. Because it's all these lame-brained, stupid ideas, again, like this, that are not working. In New York City, New York City's new pollution report proves congestion pricing was a money grab, just like critics thought all along. Imagine that. Just a money grab. Did it reduce pollution? So a new report from the city found that congestion pricing, which was it goes from roughly a $9 toll to a $15 toll if you want to drive into Manhattan, for example. This is weird. It failed to reduce air pollution in Manhattan. That was a report produced by people in New York City. And that's what happens when you don't get out to vote. This is stating the obvious. Apparently, I'm going to have to continue to state the obvious. As I said in the social media, and I probably say this, I don't know, every other show or every third or fourth show, and that's this. I'm an old dude. And when I was in high school in the 60s, I had a teacher named Mr. Helms. And Mr. Helms said, the only thing for whatever reason that I remember about any of the civics classes or other classes that I took, because I was a crappy student and I hated math and most everything about going to school. He said, and I remembered this, Democrats don't win elections. Republicans lose them. Hello? Republicans lose them. And you give it away. What is this? What's his name? Anthony Kiedis, that says, give it away, give it away, give it away, give it away now. And that's exactly what you're doing. You're giving it away. And you don't have to. Now, one thing we do know, one thing we know beyond a doubt, with a certainty, is that people who believe in the Second Amendment and firearms, they are great registrants. They have registered to vote, and they vote consistently and with great regularity because they are there to make sure that they support the Second Amendment. And the Second Amendment is there to support the First Amendment, which is free speech, which, of course, nobody on the left believes in. Unless it's their speech, then their speech is okay. So everybody knows that hunters, right, they are great. They have a history of voting consistently and frequently every year in federal and local elections. How about hunters? Oh, yeah. About 42% of hunters aren't registered to vote. For example, just in Michigan, hundreds of thousands of gun owners and hunters in Michigan. Nope. Same in Pennsylvania. And if gun owners show up and vote their values, they win elections. Listen to this. What a concept.
By and large, about 42% of hunters are not registered to vote. 42%.
Wow.
And imagine if we got every Second Amendment enthusiast across the country to actually vote their gun values. I don't think we'd ever lose again. And in Michigan alone, there are hundreds of thousands of gun owners that are not registered. In Pennsylvania, hundreds of thousands. Extrapolate that to the Midwest, that would win Wisconsin, Michigan, and PA.
How does this happen?
By and large,
okay, so the people
about 42%
that should be out the most voting aren't. Lucy, explain that to me. I will explain it to you. You're ignorant, lazy fucks. Republicans, get your ass off the sofa. Winning is within your grasp. Like that guy who's straining like crazy, must have hemorrhoids to try to get that ballot box, but it's just too far away and it's just too inconvenient. Let me show you a poll. This is from Emerson College, and I'll pull that out. Put this up. August 2026, national poll. Now, do I believe in every poll? Fuck no. Look at the polls for Hillary Clinton in 2016, where President Trump kicked her ever-loving ass. Oh, but the polls show that she's way ahead. And the import of making polls like that is so that leftists become engaged and they say, oh, well, you know, we don't need to go out and vote because, you know, we've got this in the bag. And then Republicans or conservatives, on the other hand, go and look at a poll like that, as carved out as it may be, and say, no, my vote doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything at all. And how sad is that? That, it's just, what's a mother to do? August 2026 national poll, Demorats lead congressional ballot by 8 points. Rubio outperforms Vance on 2028 ballot tests. National. So I guess if you look at this and you lend any credence to it, people who are not motivated to get out to vote are saying, well, what's the point? I'm like Eeyore. It doesn't make any difference. Nothing at all. Won't happen, right? No, not necessarily. Especially when you're looking at things like this. The DSA, Democrat Socialists of America, who are taking advantage of this great leap these days, announced that their platform is to overthrow the United States Constitution. They hate everything that has to do with America. I don't know if you can see this or not. I'll go through it. Their agenda is, we're going to give reparations. Well, idiot blacks are going, woohoo, yeah, where are you going to get the money for that? We're going to abolish ICE. Sure, nothing says stupidity like open borders and making sure that we're not a sovereign nation, but that's the point. Defund the Department of War, because who needs national defense? Prosecute U.S.-Israeli leaders for genocide in Gaza. This will work well. Defund the police and prisons. If you're voting for these people or you're not voting against these people, this is what they want for you. Amnesty for all immigrants. Public ownership of the largest corporations. Hello, do you think that is a major tenet of communism? And the answer is, it sure as hell is. Abolish the Senate. Abolish the presidency. Abolish the Supreme Court. Abolish everything about the government. Don't get me wrong. There are times when I feel like that too. But the intent and the creation of our founding documents was brilliant. It's the execution or the lack thereof by politicians in D.C., 535 self-seeking, wallet-embiggening assholes that are only looking out for themselves and eschewing everything that our founding documents represented. The Declaration of Independence, the U.S. Constitution, the Bill of Rights. It's not perfect, but it's the most perfect government all around the planet. A republic, if you can keep it. And so you don't get out to vote. This is what you get.
Stands in the way of their planned revolution, as these resurfaced comments give Republicans a new midterm attack line.
The two things that we're famous for is our commitment to a program and our hatred of the United States Constitution. And what the program does is it gives us a roadmap to revolution.
Stop right there. I got to take a break. But before I go, I want to point out this. Anybody remember Ginsburg, Justice Ginsburg? And she was speaking to somebody who was asking about the creation of a constitution. And this is an interview that's on video. I played this any number of times. It's out there for anybody to find. And she said to whomever this person was, I don't recall. She said, if I were looking to create a new constitution for a new country, I would not look to the U.S. Constitution. And here's why. Now, this is me speaking, not her. The reason is the current Constitution believes that, and the current philosophy believes that our rights come from and stem from God, not government. And our current Constitution is such that it believes on limits to government. And Ginsburg was saying, and all the rest of these assholes are saying, and will come into power if you stay home, is government is God. There can be no religion, no power save that of government. Folks, I'm BZ. Come right back.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Mission log entry. I mean, let's face it, who's even counting anymore? The Lost Wanderer is officially off course, chasing rogue rocket launches, fringe science, and things that probably violate causality. If it burns fuel, bends time, or makes scientists very uncomfortable, yeah, I'm probably going to talk about it. Every other Sunday on KLRN Radio, The Lost Wanderer, because space doesn't come with a roadmap, and honestly, I wouldn't follow if it did.
Hello, I'm Matt, a student at Hillsdale College. Here is Hillsdale President Larry Arnn on the continuing relevance of the Constitution.
Many argue today that the Constitution is outdated because it addresses problems peculiar to the 18th century. Some parts of the Constitution do read rather quaintly. Consider the injunction against titles of nobility in Article 1, Section 9 of the Constitution. But is that so outdated? The purpose of the injunction is to prevent the government granting special privileges to some for partisan reasons. This strikes at the heart of the rule of law. The crony capitalism so common today is a place where the government bestows favors and tax dollars on some businesses to give them a leg up over others. This is exactly the kind of thing the Constitution was meant to prohibit. The Constitution is not so outdated after all.
This Constitution Minute was brought to you by Hillsdale College. To join the national conversation on the Constitution, go to constitutionminute.com.
Hey fellas, are you mission ready? You need to check out Mission Ready Men via Earl Big E Jackson on Tuesdays and Thursdays, 9 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Central, and noon Eastern. It's a show that equips you to navigate our society's challenges from a biblical perspective with courage and conviction. Tune into Mission Ready Men as we examine our culture through the prism of biblical truths, teachings, and how to apply them in our daily lives. Prepare to step up, stand out, and step into your role as a man as ordained by God. That's Mission Ready Men, hosted by Earl Jackson on the SHR Media Network. And get mission ready.
Want to make an immediate difference in the life of a critically ill child? You have the ability to do that right now. Make a donation to Dream Makers for Life, the organization that restores dreams to seriously ill children and their families. You can sponsor a dream pack for a child, which contains a clear PVC backpack, a dry erase board adventure coloring book, a journal, and dry erase markers to inspire a critically ill child to envision a future adventure and hope. Want to become a dream maker for life yourself? Go to dreamforlife.org. That's dreamforlife.org. Help a child. Help a family. There is always hope.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And 26 more minutes before the end of the show. My gratitude to everyone who is here tonight. I am BZ, the bulbous one. And it's true. This shirt is true. My brain has too many tabs open. It always has, and it always will. And that's what makes it such a crazy, confusing world today. But what I'm talking about tonight, kids, is you stay home, you lose. You stay home, you lose. Why won't you get out? Why won't you, conservatives and Republicans, get out to vote? It's so simple. And as I've said many, many times, this is true. Look at the article. Take your time reading it later on when you go to Rumble, because that's where I post all the videos and the articles that I use. Elections frequently these days are coming down to just a few votes, a handful of votes. And you know it's true nationally. Look at what happened with Bush and Gore. And I can guarantee you that you can name or think of at least one local series of elections that have come down to, this so-and-so whom I hate, shoot, he won by 20 votes, 25 votes. And what if you went, I don't know, next door? I know this is wacky. This is zany. What am I thinking? Ever go to your neighbor and say, hey, I'm going to get out today and I'm going to vote. Hey, do you need a ride? I'd be happy to take you to the polls. Where I am right here, the voting place is about, 1,000 feet away. And it's held in an emergency services headquarters. And it's just around the corner. And if with that amount of convenience, if I don't go there and vote, as I have every election, and certainly every election since being in Idaho, then what kind of a stultifying, brain-glazingly stupid, idiotic, moronic hypocrite would I be if I don't? It's just over there. It's a building literally around the corner. Maybe it's not as easy for you. Is there a bus system, a transportation system in your city? Are there friends, neighbors? Can you walk there? Can you ask someone? Can you take a taxi? Can you get, Lyft, Uber? I bet you could. If you're motivated to do it, get out. The ballot box is right there. I know you can see it, conservatives. I know you can see it, Republicans. And you're thinking to yourselves, if you're a Republican or a conservative who's watching this show, why are you going out of your way to insult me? I vote every time. Well, like I said, what about all your friends? What about the people that are conservatives? What about your friends that are Republicans and or conservatives as well? Maybe they're independents. Maybe on certain issues, yeah, they'll vote along with you. Are you talking to them? Are you networking with them? Are you saying, hey, November 8th, blah, 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 election time, I'm going, are you? So I'm not here to insult you. For the people that are, the bulk of people who are watching this, if you go out and vote religiously, consistently, excelente. That's Spanish for excellent. That's wonderful. That's a great thing. But I just proved to you that so many do not. Because where once you had places that are strongholds, if you don't consider that you must get out and vote consistently, that stuff gets turned upside down. When you put voting and politics on ignore mode, you may not be interested in politics. Politics is most deaf interested in you. Florida school board at the center of the culture wars loses what they once had a conservative majority. Demorats said the flip indicates voters want education to move on from political fights over social issues, while conservatives point to the wins. And this is standard game day crap. Demorats are saying, whatever it is that you're doing, you're an obstructionist. Move on, because we say you must move on because it's our policies that must be upheld. And then you get this stuff. I'm not making any of this up. I don't need to make any of this stuff up. I'm a techno-Luddite. I'm a digital moron. Everybody who watches the show knows that. But what do you get if you, let's talk about one of the biggest hypocrites in the Democrat side. I think Bernie Sanders I think he's a registered Demorat socialist or a registered socialist, one of the two. He caucuses with the Demorats, or maybe he's even an independent. I don't think so. I think he's a registered socialist. I could be wrong, but he's not a Demorat. He doesn't go with that. He just kind of moves in their flow, so to speak. And remember him, fight the oligarchy with AOC, fight the controllers, eat the rich. He makes $174,000. That's just his base salary. He has a net worth of $3.2 million. So Bernie Sanders is a millionaire. He's got 2 homes, 6 cars, a luxury vacation summer home, and he spent in the past year $608,000 on private jets, on chauffeured cars, and upscaled hotels because he ain't no Motel 6 kind of guy. Did you know this also about Bernie Sanders? He owes $1.6 million in back taxes, in not to mention double-digit millions of dollars in offshore accounts that he possesses. He could pay him if he wanted to. Yeah, he's a socialist and a communist all the way along. I'm sure he is, isn't he? Yeah, well, let's listen to him for a little bit.
Income and wealth inequality. The Republicans look around them and they say, wow, we got 3 people owning more wealth than the bottom half of American society. Very richest people are becoming phenomenally richer. Working people are struggling. What's the solution?
I know, communism, socialism, right? And then suddenly a guy named Bernie Moreno steps in and says,
long-standing tax the rich narrative. Pulling from his decades of experience running car dealerships, Moreno exposes the ultimate legislative hypocrisy, an explicit tax loophole buried in the Inflation Reduction Act that rewards multimillionaires like Sanders leasing $515,000 electric Rolls-Royce Spectres with a $7,500 check funded by the American taxpayer.
Stop. Who has the power to change all this? Who had the power under 46 to change all this? Who has the power? 535 people have the power to change all this. The reason it exists in its current form is because that's what they want. They couldn't give, there's not a dime's worth of difference frequently between a Republican and a Demorat. And the Demorat socialists and the communists are even worse. Who has the ability to change the tax code? Not me, not you. It's the persons complaining, well, we got to tax the billionaires and we got to tax the millionaires. That power exists within themselves.
Watch this.
It is apparently not good enough that the top 1% today own more wealth than the bottom 90%. That is rather phenomenal. But in my Republican colleagues' eyes, the wealthy and the powerful need even more help. 1% owning more wealth than the bottom 90%, just not good enough. We could do better than that. So not only should the very wealthy be asked to pay their fair share of taxes, the Republicans believe that we should give huge tax breaks to millionaires and billionaires.
I think we need to kind of go back in time for just a little bit, not quite as much as in Back to the Future. Let's just go back to 2020. There was an election in 2020. The Democrats gained control of the Senate and the White House. And what's been the result? During the 4 years of President Trump,
I said, who could have changed it?
His first term, it was never better for working class Americans. Real wage growth grew. The middle class was doing better. Our economy was doing fantastic. The Republicans had passed the TCJA, which gave tax relief to all Americans. And we received, and this is very important, the federal government received a record amount of revenue. So even though there was tax cuts for the wealthy was the headline. By the way, that line is as old as dirt, and it's totally false. While the tax rates were cut, tax revenue was at a record level. It would be fascinating if there was just one Democrat that acknowledged that we received a record amount of revenue in the federal coffers.
And what did we do with it? What do you think we did with it? Not we, not you, not me. The people in D.C. We squandered it. They squandered it. They pissed it away on illegal invaders and just about everything that benefits themselves. But wait, when you don't show up to vote, and the people, the muzzies and the Demorat socialists and the commies come in and vote, then who are they? Who are these people in particular? Well, hey, look at this. The co-chair of the New York City chapter of the Demorat Socialists of America, who rails against, rising rents, rent control, buildings turned over to the people. By the way, his name is Gustavo Gordillo. He lives in a $1.5 million, 2,400 square foot row house in Brooklyn's Bed-Stuy neighborhood that his wealthy parents purchased for him and his brother. So his dad, also named Gustavo, founded an engineering firm in South Florida whose most important client is AT&T. And the point of this is these assholes have theirs, and they couldn't give a shit less about you. And yet somehow you still think that, I'm watching elections and they fall away, and my vote isn't going to make any difference whatsoever. Not a difference, nothing about that. Really? How many times do I have to tell you about this? A ton, apparently. Get your friends, get your friends' friends, get your Republican friends, get your conservative friends, talk to them, network, tell them that there is almost nothing more important than getting out to a local and to a federal election. Do not stay at home. This is how the people who live a different lifestyle continue to take advantage of you. And then I played this the other day, but it deserves playing again. Hassan Piker. So this socialist, he says he's a socialist. Well, to which I say, no, he's not. He's a commie. Here's his commie jacket from Mao. This is what you get when you shave his beard. Okay, I didn't get any laughs off of that, apparently. I guess I'm not going to put that up there again. So he's estimated to have a worth of, Hassan Piker, hates America. He has a net worth of $35 million. Hey, do you? How about you? Do you have a net worth of $35 million and you hate America? He makes about $4 million per year working the capitalist system that he despises, and he'll tell you all day long, and then he justifies, I have a $2.7 million home, but I have it because I'm special. He'll tell you this. Listen.
At what point does your very expensive home stop being a basic human necessity and something that essentially reinforces the very system that you're critiquing?
Wait. Do you see the shields like the Enterprise coming up? The deflector shields?
I think the purchases that you make necessarily, if you're buying a private jet, it's a little different. But I don't think the purchases that you make.
A $2.7 million house. Come on, that's cheese. That's crumbs. That's scraps. Well, I guess you caught me. Fuck. How am I going to get out of this one?
As long as you're not using it to engage in capital accumulation, imply, something less ethical than.
What did I tell you? How much he makes? Millions of dollars a year. Working the capital system. He's a capitalist. As long as it works for him. And again, I pointed out last time, this is weird. This is somebody from Al Jazeera interviewing Hassan Piker. Isn't that weird?
Whatever purchase you're making in general. I have a house. The reason why it's so expensive is because it's in West Hollywood.
Okay, stop. Let's look at this. Well, you wouldn't be buying in West Hollywood unless you had essentially a shit ton of money. He does not, this is from Rolling Stone, pointed this out last time, but apparently it requires review again. Does not publicly share his residence with a roommate or a partner. He's not turning it over to lots of illegal invaders who probably wouldn't treat his property with the goodness and kindness that he does. He lives by himself. He frequently mentions his solo living lifestyle, and he manages his daily Twitch broadcast streams, which make him a lot of money, right? Right. So anyway.
This guy is pushing socialism, but at the same time is buying multi-million-dollar homes. And his exact words are, it's okay if I do it as long as you don't do capital accumulation. Well, capital accumulation means that you have a very large net worth. Let's just see how much he's worth. If we look at his net worth, we're looking at around an estimate of $20 to $35 million.
He's a capitalist. Do you see him giving that away? No, he likes his lifestyle. No, he loves his bank account. He loves all those things. So he's saying one thing, like all the other assholes. Like, what is it? Katie Wilson, mayor in Seattle, who lives in mommy and daddy's house, who doesn't have to worry about paying anything because she's got hers, because mommy and daddy have a house and she can live there and she has pretty much no overhead. Oh, this just in, message from the big giant head. Apparently, people are trying to get a ballot measure or trying to get a signature system together so that they can get her and remove her out of office, which is, don't you think that's a little, there's so much these days that's going on that's weird. Even Demorats, former Demorats, are saying this doesn't compute.
The one thing I would say to Republicans is if they want to save the republic, they've got to fix the university system. I'm Julian Epstein. I'm a longtime Democrat. I was formerly the chief counsel of the House Judiciary Committee and the staff director of the House Oversight Committee for the Democrats. In terms of the question as to what the Democrats can do.
Okay, by the way, if you don't remember, he's a Hillary Clinton big time ally
right now to reverse course and shift back towards the center. The first thing is to recognize why the party is going off the deep end here. It's first a question of incompetence. The party infrastructure is crumbling. That's why.
Okay, this will be the first of the show. Yeah, I agree with that, but I'm running out of time. I got about another 5 more minutes before I got to wrap up the show. And if you look at all the tabs up here, look at all these tabs. I got so much stuff to talk about. It's not funny and I'm not laughing. But my name is BZ, and I thank you for being here tonight. And there are lots of things that I could play. Let me do this. You see who's there? If you look at the bottom, you can see that that's John Fetterman. What kind of a party do you have anymore where The sole voice of reason is John Fetterman. Now, before he had his stroke, there was some crazy stuff coming out of this guy. And then he had a stroke, and then he had to come back, and then he had to recover. And the guy came back smarter and sharper than he did when he had a stroke. And now he's saying things that I can tell you right now, he has no future in the Demorat Party, and certainly zero future in the Demorat Socialists or the commies. They're just commies. And soon he's about to be a man without a country. And he says Bernie Sanders has become dangerous to America. Hey, John, take it away.
Bernie Sanders will never represent any more than 640,000 people in Vermont. That's all he's ever done, and he ever will do. He's never won an actual competitive election. And now why can't, stop giving me lectures on how to win. Bernie's not flipping seats. He is helping install volatile and dangerous kinds of candidates and now put Democratic seats at risk. I've flipped seats. Now, he's never done that thing. I'm tired of his lecture.
Fight the oligarchy. You got to fight the oligarchy.
Overall. And now he claims that he's not a member of the Democratic Party. Why can't the DSA people just, they should just run and there's their own party?
Most people don't agree with a lot of things Democrats are doing right now or saying, but John Fetterman is right here. He's saying that the Democratic Socialists of America and their candidates are actually dangerous to America.
They are. But why does it take someone like Senator John Fetterman from Pennsylvania to say, well, no longer the quiet part, but say the obvious part out loud? And again, I wrap up the show tonight. And to all who have been here throughout, I thank you ever so kindly. It's August the 20th, year of our Lord 2026. This is going to be my last show for the week. I'm not doing a Sunday night Saloon, but I will be back on Tuesday night. I already know what my show is going to be about. And Thursday night, I'm going to have Dr. Carla Dean Graves on the show. She's going to talk about a whiz in terms of knowledge about Wuhan 19 and also election integrity. And she's going to be on for the entire 2 hours. And it's going to be a ton of fun. And thanks for being here as long as you have. Thanks for watching live. Thanks for engaging in the chat room. And it's TFTT, time for Tata. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, thanks for playing along. Thanks for not getting injured in hopscotch. Thanks for using the chalk outline on the body. And thanks for listening to BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show, live and direct right here on the SHR Media YouTube channel, on Rumble, on X, on the munificently grandiose KLRN, parenthesis, don't tax the rig, end of parenthesis, and tons of other bulbous podcast locales. Promotional consideration is by just a few things because I can't reach the graphics anymore, courtesy of StreamYard. Why I oughta. Promotional consideration by the Lockheed Martin Skunk Works, and also by Shure and Electro Voice microphones. If I could scroll the promotional stuff down further, I'd tell you that, well, there's some other plate. My advertisers are about to change. We're still in negotiations. Please have patience. Have patience. But I do want to say this. I want to thank my personal KC-135 Kettle One refueling team, with whom I shall be consorting in less than 10 minutes. Thanks to everybody. And 2 hours later, it's time for bye-bye.
Everybody. Night, Mama. Night, Ben. Good night, everyone.
Good night, Mama. Good night, Daddy.
Good night, children. Good night, Daddy. Good night, Elizabeth.
Good night, John Boy. Good night, Jim Bob. Good night, Jim Bob.
Good night, Jim Bob.
What's going on? I was asleep. What's everybody doing?
Good night,
Good night, Jim Bob.
Good night, and good luck.
And folks, it's almost bedtime. It might be past your bedtime. It's time to say good night.